Let's start this session. Today we're going to take a look at a very typical type of puzzles in the LRDI section, and a couple of CAT editions have asked questions of this type. These are known as tournament based puzzles, right? You understand what are meant by tournaments and what are the different types of tournaments which can be played when multiple teams are there. In any sport like cricket or football is to be played, they play it as a tournament, right? So what are the various ways in which you can hold the tournament so that the final winner, because there can only be one winner in each sport. So for deciding a winner, what are the various ways in which tournaments can be
As a
done? League as in?
you play a fixed number of matches, like 3 matches per. You divide them into groups
Okay.
or in a single group if you want,
Hmm.
and all the teams play, for example, 5 to 6 matches, in the top 2 or top 4 qualify for the playoffs. IPL, like similar
Okay.
to IPL,
Okay. What else?
direct knockouts.
Knockouts. So there are technically two types of tournaments which can be played, right? One is called a round robin fashion, in which every team plays practically every team. So in every round you have a fixed number of top teams which can be sent to the next match. So let us assume that there are 16 teams to be played. You can divide them into two groups of 8 each, and then every team in every group plays every other team, and then you decide that exactly 4 of the top 8 in each group will go to the next round, and then it keeps on going. Then you have the quarters, the semis, and the finals, and so on and so forth. And the second type of the second type of match which can be played is simply called a knockout tournament, in which every game you play, if you win, you advance to the next level, but if you lose, then you are simply out. You don't get a second chance. So based on these two types of tournaments, there are many puzzles which can be asked. Let's take a look at some of them. Before we go that, we understand that in knockout tournaments, there are certain terms which are commonly used. For example, there can be a specific rule which says how the players are going to be paired, who is going to play whom. So they could say that, let us say that there are total of 8 teams which are there in the entire league, right? So there is something called seed, which is basically a ranking given to each team. So a top seeded player would be seed 1 or rank 1. So every team has a unique, or every player has a unique seed. So let us say there are 8 teams, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So one common way in which the sport could be played is that it is decided that the top seed will always play the bottom seed. The second top will play the second bottom, and so on and so forth. So if we have a total of 8 teams, we could say that in round 1, we could have players 1, 2, 3, 4 playing against, so 1 would play against 8, 2 against 7, 3 against 6, and 4 against 5, right? So the winner of each match will go to the second round, and then they keep proceeding like that. Now, normally it is considered that a stronger player will always defeat a weaker player. So a top seed player defeating a lower seeded player is considered a normal victory. But supposing a person who is seeded lower defeats somebody who is seeded higher. For example, let us say in the first match between 1 and 8, if 1 wins, it is considered a normal victory. But if 8 wins, then that is what we call an upset, because you don't expect a lower player to be victorious. So depending on wins and upsets, let's assume that all the wins are normal. So then you have 8, 7, 6 and 5 getting eliminated. So 1, 2, 3, 4 proceed to the next match. So again 1 and 2 play against 3 and 4. And then in round 3, let us assume again they're all normal victories. So 3 and 4 get eliminated. So the final match goes between 1 and 2. And if 2 gets eliminated, then 1 becomes the winner of this particular match, right? So in a knockout tournament, upset is when a lower seed defeats a higher seed, and a normal win is when a normal person goes ahead. So, and in a round robin fashion, we could have a situation where, let us say that there are a total of 4 teams. So I have teams 1, 2, 3 and 4, and every team is supposed to play with every other team. So that means that team 1 will be playing against 2, 3 and 4. 2 will be playing against 1, 3 and 4. 3 against 1, 2 and 4, and 4 against 1, 2 and 3. So in this situation, if I want to depict it, nobody can play against themselves, so the diagonal is eliminated, and we only need any one side. So 1 plays against 2, 3 and 4. Now 2 has already played against 1. 1 and 2 have already played here. 1 and 2 have already played. So 2 and 1 I don't need. So 2 and 3 and 4. 3 has already played against 1 and 2. So 3 and 4. And 4 anyway has played against. So this table will basically give me the first round of matches which can happen. And then if I say that out of the 4 teams, the top 2 teams will be selected for the finals. So depending how the scoring is done, the top 2 teams are selected. So in any sport, there are 3 different types of outcomes possible. 1, you could either win the match. 2nd, you could lose the match. 3rd, you could draw the match. So for each example or for each game, you have also to take, is it a round robin, is it a knockout, and then if it is a round robin, then what are the scoring systems, and based on that a lot of mathematical questions can be asked. So let's take a look at a few examples to understand this. You understood the knockout tournament thingy, everybody online as well? What exactly is a knockout tournament and how it functions? I hope everybody got that. Okay, so let's take a basic example. Let us say that the Wimbledon Grand Slam is a 128 player knockout tournament, which means there are various rounds held, and in each round each player competes with one another player. The winner advances to the next round and the loser is eliminated. Thus various rounds are conducted till there is just one winner left. The first round to be held is round 1, the next round is round 2, and so on. And the last 3 rounds are considered the quarterfinals, the semifinals and the finals. So keeping all this information in mind, we can have a lot of questions. Some basic questions is, what is the total number of rounds which will be held? Considering that there are a total of 128 players in all, how many rounds would be required till we get the winner? Online, did we understand the question? Okay, so then how many rounds will be there in all if total 128 players are there in the beginning? Yep, see, so if there are total of 128 players, that means there must be 64 matches in round 1, because 128 players you split into 2 groups, each match has 2 players, so between 128 players there will be 64. Half, so in the second round you will have half of that, which is 32. In the third round you will have half of that, which is 16. In the fourth round you will have 8. In the fifth round you will have 4. In the sixth round you will have 2. So in the seventh round you will be left with one single match, and the outcome of that match will decide the winner. So there should be a total of 7 rounds. And if I want to take a look at it, the number 128, because every match has 2 players in it. 128 is nothing but 2 to the power 7. So that's it. 2 to the power 7 is 128. So to get one winner out of 128, you simply read 2 to the power n number of matches. Easy. Online. First step easy. Then the next question, how many matches will be played in all?
127.
And that is pretty straightforward. You don't even need any calculation, because if it's a knockout tournament, then out of every single match will eliminate one player, right? And out of 128, to get one winner, you need to eliminate 127 players. So you need a total of 127 matches, and that will determine the number of winners. So simply speaking, if there are a total of n players in a knockout tournament, then the number of matches which will be required to eliminate is simply n-1. That's it. And the last one, just before the start of the 5th round, how many players are still in contention?
8.
We already established this, right? So in round 1 there are a total of 128 players. So in round 2 you will have a total of 64. In round 3 you will have a total of 32. In round 4 you will have a total of 16. So when it comes to round 5 you will have a total of 8. So after the 5th round, 8 gets half of 2, but the 5th round itself will start with a total of 8 players. So the number of players in contention just before the 5th round is a total of 8. Pretty easy questions to start with. Now let's take a look at a similar example, and this is going to be interesting. Now in the table below is a list of teams seeded from number 1 to number 16 who are due to play in an association of cricket tournament. This tournament has 3 knockout rounds before the final. So that is first round, quarterfinals and semifinals. In the first round, the highest seeded team plays the lowest seeded team, that is 16, who is designated match number 1 of first round. Second seed plays with 15th seed, which is match number 2 of second round, and so on. So for instance, match number 8 of the first round is between 8th and 9th seeded team. In the second round, winner of match number 1 of first round plays winner of match number 8 and is designated match number 1 of second round. Similarly, winner of 2 plays winner of 7 of first and designated match 2 of second round. So for instance, match number 4 of the second round is to be played between winner of match number 4 of the first round and the winner of match number 5 of first round. And the same pattern is followed for the further rounds as well. It may sound confusing, but it's the basic rules of knockout which we have seen. So understood the question? The names of the 16 teams are given in the table. Did we understood the rules? It's the simple rules of knockout tournament. Okay. So then here's the first question, and we have seen, now we have understood what is an upset. If a lower seeded player defeats a higher seeded player, that means it is an upset. So if there are no upsets in the first round and only match numbers 2, 3 and 4 of the second round are an upset, then who would meet Pakistan in semi-finals in case Pakistan reaches the semi-finals? If Pakistan is in the semi-finals, whom will they play against?
Australia.
Yep. So see, it says, now the table itself is pretty simple and easy for us because it has given 1 to 8 and 9 to 16, and we know that 1 is playing with 9, 2 with 10, 3 with 11 and so on in first round. So it says that there are no upsets in the first round. That means all the lower seeds are eliminated. So round 1 mein the winners are everybody from 1 to 8. Now I have to go with Pakistan, and we have to remember that Pakistan is at number 5. So in round 2, I'm going to have 4 matches, and the matches are going to be between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 in this order. Now it says that numbers 2, 3 and 4 of the second result in upset. That means these three are upsets and this is not. So when it comes to round 3, in the first one, 1 place, between 2 and 7, 7, between 3 and 6, 6, between 4 and 5, 5. So that means in this order if I go, then 7 and 6, 1 and 5 will be playing. Will it be like that? So if this is the semi-finals, because 4 players in semi-finals and 5 is Pakistan, then in the semi-finals who is going to play? Right? It is going to be team number 1, and according to seeds, team number 1 is Australia. So that is option C. So it's going to be team number 1, C, which is going to reach the semi-finals along with Pakistan. So Australia is going to play against. Rahil, got this one? Okay. Now, if South Africa and Sri Lanka lose in the first round, while Bangladesh and India make it to the semi-finals, then who would play with Australia in the second round in event Australia reaches the second round? Anirudh, yes. Getting it? Let's see. It says South Africa and Sri Lanka lose in the first round. So if South Africa and Sri Lanka lose, that means Kenya and Netherlands would have won against them. And it also says that Bangladesh and India make it to the semi-finals. So if Bangladesh has made it to the semi-finals, Australia should have lost in the beginning. And if India has also reached the semi-finals, then Zimbabwe should have lost. Right? So, Baki all go according to the seeding system. There are no upsets which it talks about.
Is
So,
it 1 against 16, 2 against 15 ऐसा
कौन सा?
pairs in the first round?
एक second. Yeah, sorry. So it's upside down. This one is upside down, right? So Yep, my mistake. So then let's start again. If South Africa and Sri Lanka lose in the first round, so South Africa and Sri Lanka are out, and Bangladesh and India make it. So Bangladesh has made it and India has made it. So if India has made it, who has lost? Bermuda. And if Bangladesh has won, that means who has lost? New Zealand. So then who are my list of winners that I have to go with? The first one in the second round is definitely Australia. Second player is definitely India. Third and fourth is gone. So that is the winners of the match that I have to put. So who are the winners of the match? South Africa would have won against UAE. So South Africa means UAE would have won. Fourth match, Sri Lanka has lost. That means Afghanistan would have won. Then the remaining Pakistan is definitely winning. Sixth, England is definitely winning. Seventh, West Indies is definitely winning. And the eighth one, if New Zealand has lost, then Bangladesh has won. So these are my 8 players as of now. Now it becomes a simple matter of 1 against 8. And I have to make sure that who reaches the semi-finals. Bangladesh and India definitely have to reach the semi-finals. So now against Australia and Bangladesh, the winner would be Bangladesh. In the second one against India and West Indies, the winner has to be India. In the third one, UAE versus England, the higher seed I will go with UAE. Fourth, Afghanistan, Pakistan, I would go with Afghanistan. So now again if I have to split, then who would play with Australia now?
Australia is out. Australia played against Bangladesh.
एक सेकेंड,
Second round में हमने किया है.
कहाँ पे?
This is the second round का we did.
हाँ.
The list. तो Australia played Bangladesh in the second round. We need to.
यहाँ पे गड़बड़ किया क्या? Answer ends at the second. एक सेकेंड. हाँ, sorry.
We needed that.
Who would play with Australia? Sorry, who would play with Australia? मिल गया ना? इसके आगे तो जाना ही नहीं था. Sorry. That's it. Who would play Australia in the second round? So we got that. Australia would be playing with Bangladesh. That's it.
Instead of I said the match ke winners, I was still allotting the opponents rank wise.
Nah. See, if you take a look at the question, it says only in the first because we don't have anything. It goes with the seeds. Then it says that in the first round the highest seed plays the lowest seeded. Then it starts that in the second round the winner of the first round plays the winner of the second. So once it's only for the first round that the seed matters. Then it's simply the winners which go ahead.
That is where I established the
So there you have to be careful. ठीक है, चलो. चलो, so this one is also done. Third one. If in the first round all the even numbered matches and none of the odd numbered ones result in upsets, and there are no upsets in the second round, then which team facing South Africa in semi-finals? Yep. Anil, yes. Yep. So it says that in the first round, all the even numbered matches result in upsets. So even numbered matches, may we start with the first 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So that is match number 2, match number 4, match number 6 and match number 8 would be upsets. So starting with first one, Australia versus Scotland, not an upset, so Australia won. Then in the second match, which is India versus Bermuda, upset, that means Bermuda wins. Then South Africa versus whatever, South Africa wins. Fourth one is Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan, that means Afghanistan wins. Pakistan wins. England versus Kenya में Kenya wins. West Indies versus Zimbabwe, it is simply West Indies. And then New Zealand versus Bangladesh, it is the upset. So again, Bangladesh wins. Now, 1 with 8, and there are no upsets in the second round. So if there are no upsets in the second round, that means the winners are the first 4. So which team faces South Africa? एक second. यहाँ पे कहाँ गड़बड़ होगी?
We need rankings for match wise allot करने के लिए rankings चाहिए ना.
किस में?
मतलब ऑस्ट्रेलिया वर्सेस बांग्लादेश तो मतलब वो रैंक 1 वर्सेस रैंक 9 तो विनर.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया वर्सेस बांग्लादेश में ऑस्ट्रेलिया 1.
हाँ फिर
बर्मुडा वर्सेस वेस्ट इंडीज में
वेस्ट इंडीज विनर क्योंकि रैंकिंग हायर है वेस्ट इंडीज का. नो अपसेट.
yes, it's not an upset. Correct. So ranking के हिसाब से बर्मुडा वर्सेस वेस्ट इंडीज में it is वेस्ट इंडीज which is going to win. Correct. So then साउथ अफ्रीका वर्सेस केनिया के अंदर साउथ अफ्रीका is going to win. एंड अफगानिस्तान वर्सेस पाकिस्तान के अंदर अफगानिस्तान का कहाँ पे है? ये रहा अफगानिस्तान एंड पाकिस्तान में पाकिस्तान इज गोइंग टू विन. करेक्ट. डन. सो वेस्ट इंडीज एंड they'll play. What this one? That's why I should never watch cricket. कभी समझ में नहीं आएगा सीडिंग. Did everybody get this one? Rahil. Okay. Chalo. Next. How many matches are played in the tournament for getting the final winner? Oh, come on. You don't need to count. It's knockout. It's a knockout tournament, guys. Knockout mein, if there are n teams, you just need n minus 1 matches, because out of all the teams only one wins. Everyone else get eliminated in a single match each. So there are a total of 16 teams, which means there are going to be 15 knockout matches. In 15 matches you will get the winner. Okay. Now the second type of thing. Let us say there are 16 teams divided into 2 groups of 8 each, and each team in the group plays against one another on a round robin basis. Now 2 points are awarded for a win, 1 point for a tie, and 0 for a loss. The top 4 teams from each group will qualify for the next round, that is round 2. In round 2, each team of one group will play with each team of group 2. And at the end of the second round, the top 4 teams in terms of points scored advance to the semi-finals. And the winners of the semi-final play the finals. In case of teams having the same number of wins, the team with a better run rate would be ranked ahead. Got the basic idea of the rules of this particular thing? Sixteen teams divided into 2 groups. In round 1, each one plays against all the other players in their team. Then in round 2, each team of one group plays with each team of group 2, the opponents. And at the end of the second round, the top 4 teams will win, go to the semi-finals, and the winners of the semi-finals play the finals. Okay. First question. What is the total number of matches played in the tournament?
Top 4 from the group, each group.
The rules are here. That's not even an option. 25 is not even an option. Options are here. No. Are you guessing or calculating it?
दोनों थोड़ा
Calculation क्या है?
कैलकुलेशन ये 25 है फिगर्ड की ये एक टीम अगर if it reaches to the finals तो वो एक टीम की 25 मैचेस हुई नहीं
कैसे? See, it says that there are 16 teams divided into two groups of 8 each, and each team in a group plays against one another in the round robin basis, which means every team plays every other team, right? So in a group of 8, how many total matches can be there if every person has to play with every other person? So this is called the handshake thing. If there are a group of people and each person shakes hand with every other person, totally how many handshakes are there? So the formula for that is you get a total of n into n minus 1 divided by 2 handshakes. फंडा क्या है कि सपोजिंग देयर आर 3 पीपल, राइट? तो खुद के साथ तो आप हैंडशेक करोगे नहीं, सो 1 विल डू विथ 2 and 3. So every person n shakes hand with n minus 1 persons. And why do we divide by 2? Because if one has already shaken hand with 2, then 2 and 1 को मुझे count नहीं करना है, because it's the same handshake. So divided by 2. So for a total of n people, I can have n into n minus 1 handshakes. So now in the two groups of 8 each, every person in the group plays with every other person in the group. So in the first group, n into n minus 1 divided by 2, and in the second group also n into n minus 1 divided by 2 matches. So if I add these two, round 1 में ही total 56 matches हो गए, and इसके आगे मैं calculation technically करूँगा नहीं, because 50 and 28 definitely cannot be my answer, and पहले ही मैच में 56 हो गए हैं, तो उसके बाद तो सेकेंड राउंड, सेमीफाइनल्स एंड फाइनल्स है, सो आंसर हैज टू बी ग्रेटर देन 56 और 75. बट अगर मुझे कैलकुलेट भी करना है, सो ये समझ में आ गया, राउंड 1 के अंदर टोटल देयर विल बी अ टोटल ऑफ 56 मैचेस. नाउ इट सेज इन राउंड 2 ईच टीम ऑफ वन ग्रुप विल प्ले विद ईच टीम ऑफ ग्रुप 2. सो दैट मीन्स देयर विल बी अ टोटल ऑफ 4 into 4, दैट इज 16 मैचेस. तो 56 प्लस 16 72 मैचेस हो गए. देन 2 सेमीज में हो गया, एक फाइनल हो गया, सो यू विल गेट अ टोटल ऑफ 75 मैचेस. Got this one? According to the rules of the match, there must be a total of 75 games here. Online, did everybody get it? why didn't we do 4 into 4 wala concept? See, in the first one it says that it's a round robin in the first round. In the first round they all play within the same team. Then the rule changes. In round 2 each team of one group plays with each team of group 2. They don't play internally. In the first one everybody in group A plays within themselves and everybody in group B plays within themselves. Then in the second round every person plays with every other person of the other group. The rules have changed there. Okay. Now comes the really interesting part. I just want to keep remind of one thing. Remember this portion. 2 points are awarded for a win, 1 for a tie and 0 for a loss. Right? Now keeping that in mind, my next question is this. What is the least number of points with which a team can advance in round 2? The question is simple, so I will take you back to the data. Remember the question, the least number of points with which the team can advance in round 2. Your options are 5, 4, 10 or 8. Least number of points required to go to the second round, 5, 4, 10 or 8. The rules of the game are there on the screen. How do you approach the problem? Huh? What is the criteria of going on to the next round? Being in the top 4. Right? And how do you reach the top 4? What is the criteria which decides your position, points? So in the first round total कितने points होंगे? Victory is 2 points. Tie is 1, loss is 0. So एक ग्रुप के अंदर टोटल कितने पॉइंट्स होंगे in the first round? Total 56 matches divided between two groups. Group 1 will play 28 matches, Group 2 will play 28 matches. So can I say each group plays a total of 28 matches? So that means the total number of points will be 56 in each group. या तो गेम विन लॉस होगा, so 2 plus 0 2 points, या तो दोनों टाई करेंगे 1 plus 1 2 points. So every match is worth 2 points. So the total number of points for any group in the first round is total 56. 8 teams, total 56 points. Top 4 teams को लेके जाना है. And if to reach the next point with the minimum point, the 4th team should have minimal possible points. To distribute this in such a way that the 4th team is at the lowest score in the selected ones. किसी एक को मिनिमम करना है. What is one way of doing it? पॉइंट्स तो लिमिटेड है, तो किसी एक को अगर कम जाना है तो दूसरे को बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. So if I maximize the others, then one can be minimized. So how do you maximize the scores? Maximum score कब possible है? Start with that. Chal, explain this once again. Okay, I'll give you the basic hints, but I want you to do the calculations. See, it says that there are 2 rounds, 16 players. So I just have to consider any one group. So let us say that my first group has a total of 8 players, right? So among 8 players, n into n minus 1 divided by 2, there will be a total of 28 matches. Correct? So in each match you will have 2 points, because in a match one person loses and the other person wins. तो 2 plus 0 2 points बने, या तो both of them tie each other, तो 1 plus 1 फिर भी 2 points बने. That means my entire group will earn a total of 56 points. Now only the top 4 teams are going to go to the next round. So let us say that 1, 2, 3 and 4 are the top 4 scorers. 5, 6, 7, 8 are the losers. And 1 is the top scorer, 2 is the second highest, 3 is the third highest, and so on. So what can be the minimum possible score for team number 4, even with which it can go to the next round? That's what you have to calculate according to the rules. यहाँ तक समझ में आया? Okay, so now what is the minimum score that team 4 could have got? And I'll show you the rules once again.
Matches only in total in the group, and
Yes. Each team will play how many matches?
we'll figure out.
Come on. Everybody plays with everybody. So each team will play how many matches? अरे equal number of matches ही होंगे ना भाई. Every team will play how many matches? 8 teams हैं. खुद के साथ मैं खेलूंगा नहीं, बाकी सबके साथ खेलूंगा. So each team is playing 7 matches, right? So let's assume that the first topmost player has won everything. So if the first player wins everything, he will score a total of 14 points. So the second player could have won how many matches? Only 6. Because 1 के साथ तो मैच वो हारा है, 1 जीता है. तो 2 बाकियों के साथ total 6 matches खेलेगा, 6 matches जीतेगा. That means he will score a total of 12 points. And number 3 can win a maximum of 5 matches. So he can score 10 points. Right? So 14 plus 12 plus 10. So far I have got 36 points. So total 56 में से 36 points मेरे निकल गए, तो अभी 20 points बाकी हैं. ये समझ में आ गया? पहले 3 टीम्स का निकाल दो स्कोर मैक्सिमाइज करके, सो टोटल 20 पॉइंट्स हैं. नाउ मुझे 4 का क्या करना है? मुझे मिनिमाइज करना है. तो कैन आई से I will distribute these 20 points equally among the others. Let's assume. Because 4 cannot have less than 5, 6, 7 or 8. तो equal तो हो सकता है ना? तो 20 को if I want to distribute among 5 people, then can I say each one of them
4 points.
will have a total of 4 points. In this situation also, is it possible for number 4 to go on to the next round? How? Because he has a better run rate. So even if 4 scores the same as others, he will still be ahead in case of better run rate. So the minimum score with which he could have gone to the next round is 4. With 4 points, he can go on to the next round. Provided, of course, he has a better run rate than the others. That's it. You seem confused.
नहीं I got it, but we are assuming that he has assumption based है ना.
Huh? So that's what, see, even the question asks you that. The question simply says, what is the least number of points which the team can advance? तो 4 से ज़्यादा में तो advance हो ही सकता है, but 4 से कम में वो advance नहीं कर पाएगा. लेकिन 4 पे भी वो advance कर पाएगा with the run rate वाला clause. So the minimum point anybody has to get is 4. 4 से कम में नहीं जा सकता, लेकिन 4 होगा तो भी आगे निकल जाएगा वो. That means either he has lost 3 and drawn 4 matches, or he has won 2 matches, or won 1 and drawn 2 matches, something like that. उससे कम में वो नहीं जा सकता. Online फंडा समझ में आया ये वाला? How with just 4 points the person can go ahead. आगे. So अगर ये calculation part समझ में आ गया, then a similar question. What is the maximum number of points that can be scored by a team that is eliminated in the first round? You sure? कैसे?
Previous वाला ही लेके first को 7 wins.
But you have to maximize the number of points. So instead of the winner, you have to start with the losers. Losers में minimum score से चालू करना पड़ेगा. You can't go with the previous one. उसमें you have to minimize, so you have to give maximum points to others. Here you have to maximize the loser, so you have to minimize the score of people below him. The fifth player will be the player who can have the maximum points and still lose. So 6, 7 and 8 में minimum score पे lose करेंगे तो maximum score 5 पे आएगा.
You can allot maximum 5.
So then reverse, you have to work it out in reverse. Think about it. It's not 8. Yep. With the run rate clause 10, right? How did you get 10?
Last team को 0 wins allot की.
Like last, so
Similarly-
5, 6, 7 and 8 अगर मैं करूँ तो last team तो 0 पे निकल गया.
7 को 1 win.
So 7 will technically get 1 win and 6 will technically get 2 wins. So total of 6 points.
50
So
divided by
56
5.
minus 6, total 50 point. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 के बीच में 50 का distribution कर लो with 10 each. So net run rate clause के हिसाब से ये 4 आगे निकल जाएंगे. So even with 10 points, 5 will not go ahead. So the maximum possible runs that he could have actually got is 10. Correct? Right. So the maximum points with which a person is still eliminated is actually 10. Okay. What is the minimum number of matches won by the team that reaches finals? कैसे?
3 मैचेस जीत के फाइनल में पहुंचना पॉसिबल नहीं है.
वो तो पॉसिबल है बट तो 4 या 3?
4.
क्यों 4? It has to reach the finals.
हाँ तो even if
And this is the minimum number of matches. Let's take a look at the data. Simple actually.
सिर्फ राउंड 2 में देखें, each team will have to play 4 matches, right?
In first you have to play 7 matches. In the second you have to play 4 matches. then you have to play 2 matches, which is the semi-finals, and then you play the finals. हाँ.
So even if first is only, even if you see round 2 में if you want to be in the top 2,
हाँ.
ideally minimum matches you have to win is 2.
No.
मतलब एक मैच जीत के तुम out of 4.
हाँ. I don't have to win a single match. In the initial rounds, I don't have to win anything. Minimum अगर देखने जाए तो run rate वाला फंडा.
In group 2, right? Round 2.
In first one, every match is tied. तो भी 4 will advance to the second round. In the second also, every match is tied. फिर भी the top run rate people will reach the semi-finals. अब only semi-finals में I have to win to reach the finals. बाकी everywhere I can go ahead with run rate. So technically speaking, to reach the finals, I only need one match. To win one match. I don't need to win any other match. I can tie the matches and still go ahead by run rate system.
Win-loss context में देख रहा हूँ.
हाँ, but run rate का भी तो फंडा है कि to advance in the first couple of rounds, your run rate is enough. You can tie a match and still have a better run rate. And it's only the top score. It's not the winners, but the higher run rates, higher scores will get you ahead. Points के हिसाब से आगे जाते हैं ना. So the minimum number of matches, technically you can just win one match. That is the semi-finals and be in the finals. बाकी सारे run rate के हिसाब से आगे निकल जाओ.
I had run rate in the mind too, but वो tie वाला भूल गया. मतलब even win-loss and net run
rate, but हाँ,
वो tie.
exactly. Tie is also possible, and tie means you have not won a match, but technically you are going to the next round. Winning is only necessary in the semis and the finals. उसके पहले तो सारे राउंड में आपको सिर्फ रन रेट मेंटेन रखना है. Because if there is a tie, run rate will still get you ahead. So technically speaking, the minimum number of matches for a team to reach the finals is just 1. You just need to win the semi-finals. Okay, हर जगह tie run rate पे आगे निकल जाओ. This is exactly like cricket. मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता है कि टेस्ट मैच में होता क्या है. कौन ज़्यादा रन बनाता है, कौन ये करता है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. पता नहीं रूल हो जाता है, कोई आगे निकल जाता है. That's why I never watch cricket. But ये फंडा समझ में आ गया. रन रेट का फंडा लग जाता है यहाँ पे. Getting it online. Funny rules of sports. Okay, next one should be easy. Maximum number of matches to reach the finals. That's easy. So if you maximum करने के लिए you have to win every single match. So 7 in the round 1 plus 4 in round 2 plus you won your semi-final. That's it. So by the time you reach the final, you would have won a total of 12 matches. The 13th match would be your final. Online ये वाला समझ में आ गया. Easy. Chalo then. Okay. ये अपना नॉकआउट वाला फंडा फिर से. The Wimbledon Grand Slam 128 player knockout. Blah 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 blah. Exact same data. Read it, but it's exactly the same thing. The explanation of a knockout is given. Right? Online. Can I move to the questions? Knockout के सारे rules including seeds and upsets हैं इसमें. Let's take a look at the questions then. If there are only 2 upsets, then which is the lowest seeded player who can win the Grand Slam?
Upsets मतलब पूरे टूर्नामेंट.
The entire tournament में
any match can be an upset.
हाँ, but total tournament में total 2 ही upset हुए हैं. Upset is when a lower seed beats a higher seed. In the entire match, only 2 upsets have taken place. Then lowest seed who can win is you sure? Only two upsets.
All upsets and one victory ऐसा तो वैसे calculate 120 and वैसे
No. For 128 to win, every single match has to be an upset. I mean,
That's
128
how I
has to totally go through upsets.
That's how I वैसे calculate वैसे मैंने किया होगा।
नहीं, for 128 to win, minimum number of upsets कितने चाहिए?
Minimum number of upsets.
Minimum how many upsets are required for 128 to win?
3, 4, around 7 मतलब सारे round में
128 को जीतने के लिए every round has to be an upset and total 7 rounds will be there. So 128 की victory के लिए 7 upsets चाहिए. That will also lead you to the answer now. 128 की victory के लिए 7 upsets चाहिए. तो 128 तो आंसर नहीं है. Next is 64. 64 will technically win the first round without an upset. But then round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all have to be upset because 64 will be the lowest player. So if 64 has to win, he has to have 6 upsets. तो 64
भी
नहीं हो सकता. Number 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 means total 4 end तक he will reach 1, 2, 3, 4th round तक तो पहुंच जाएगा वो. But फिर 5th round में 6th and 7th में upset चाहिए 8th को. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 वाले जो round में पहुंचेंगे उसके बाद all are higher than him. So 6, 7, 8 तीनों में upset चाहिए. So he needs 3 upsets. So by elimination also you can find out only 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 के अंदर for 4 to go ahead semi-finals में भी upset होना चाहिए and finals में भी upset होना चाहिए. Only then 4 can win. So 4 technically is the lowest seeded player who can win the Grand Slam. 4 के नीचे just with 2 upsets the game cannot be won. Online got this one? Yeah. Next one. If there is only one upset and it happened in round 1, then who is the lowest seeded player who can win the Grand Slam? Pretty much straightforward. We have already seen that in the previous one. For 128 to win, you need minimum 7 upsets. For 64, minimum 6 upsets. And for 8, minimum 3 upsets. If there is just one upset, then 128, 64 or 8 cannot have won the match. So the only person who could have won the match in this situation is number 2. So with a single upset in round 1, the lowest seed player who can win is just 2. Because one has to, so which upset is required for 2 to win? Who should have lost? Which match would be an upset for 2 to be the ultimate winner?
In round 1.
The very first match between 1 and 128, if it's an upset, तो 1 is eliminated. फिर 2 को कोई खतरा नहीं है.
क्योंकि उसके बाद there are no upsets.
उसके बाद no upset है. So 1 is the only competition. So 1 gets eliminated, 2 reaches. So for 1 to be eliminated, you need the very first match in round 1 to be an upset. Okay. If all the odd numbered matches in each round is an upset, then who will win the Grand Slam? again, you just need to logically think this. It's actually very easy. एक बार strike हो गया फिर बहुत easy है ये. Anirudh, yes. Think about it. Yep, Anirudh, logic. See, odd number matches are always an upset. So first match कौन सा है?
1-1-1-1.
Upset है, who wins?
1-1.
In every round, 128 is going to be the first player and winning it because he's the lowest seeded player. So every time 128 wins, he's going to be an upset, and every time 128 is going to be the first match, so the odd match. See, in the first match, first round, first match, 1 versus 128, it's an upset. 128 wins. So 128 is going to play the first match in the second round and win. Third round maybe for. So every time 128 is going to be in the first, which is an odd number, and every time he's going to be winning because it's always the odd numbers are upsets. So till the end, it is going to be 128. So ultimately, it is going to be 128 who will win the match because the first is always an odd. And 128 is always there in that match.
मैंने वैसे सोचा कि फर्स्ट मैच 1-1-28 1 विल लूज वैसे सोच लिया, फिर सेकंड मैच 2 इवन 2 जीतेगा, मतलब
हाँ.
वही ट्रेंड में वैसे में 2
हाँ, but बहुत आगे जाने की एक्चुअली जरूरत ही नहीं है ना, क्योंकि फर्स्ट मैच is going to be 128 and it's always going to be 128 who is winning. Okay, last one. I mean the next one. The lowest seeded player who can win the tournament without itself causing an upset. That means the finals should not be an upset. Then what is the lowest seeded player who can win the tournament?
So any match apart from the finals can be an upset, मतलब ऐसा? Any match apart from the finals can be an upset.
Any match apart from the finals can be an upset. Which one? The lowest seeded player who can win the tournament without itself causing an upset. Not that tough. एट से नीचे कोई नहीं हो सकता. Only the finals cannot be an upset. Okay, any match can be an upset, right? So is it possible? Okay, 8 को तो मैं पहुंचा सकता ही हूँ, but उससे नीचे देखते हैं. Who is the lowest seeded in this group? 64. Is it possible for 64 to win the match without upsetting the finals? Think about it. In the first round itself, the first 63 matches are upset. So first 63 matches जब upset होंगे, that means 66 to 128 will go to the next round. 1 to 63 सारे निकल गए. And 64 65 में 64 जीत गया. तो 64 and 66 to लेके 128 और उसके बाद नॉर्मल मैच करते जाओ. 64 जीतता जाएगा एंड तक. तो फाइनल्स में एनीवे अपसेट नहीं करेगा. तो 64 कैन पॉसिबली रीच द एंड. All he requires is all the other players above him to get out, and that is possible in the very first round itself. So in fact, except the first round, मुझे बाकी किसी में upset की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. In the first round itself, if I can eliminate 1 to 63, then easily 64 can reach, and he can win the finals without causing an upset in the finals. Right? And 64 technically hasn't caused an upset by himself. पहले मैच में भी अपसेट नहीं हुआ और बाकी हर मैच में नॉर्मल ही है. So 64 doesn't require a single upset to win the match, provided 1 to 63 all get out, which is possible. So the one person who can reach the final, the lowest seed who can reach and win the finals without causing an upset, has to be number 64. 64 can very much reach the final without causing any upset. Online, ये वाला समझ में आया? Okay, so there are more questions. I think there are a couple of more sets of this similar type in your analytical reasoning material of championships. I want you to try these exercises once, right? And इसके ये तो basic मैंने बताया है, but now you understand the permutation combination किस तरह से set करके करना है, right? So if there are doubts, you can hang around. Otherwise, we are done. Remember, guys, tomorrow I think the CAT registrations are opening. At least our website says 10 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. iamcat.ac.in पे registration होगा. So if you want to start registering, you can start registering. वैसे registrations will go on till some time. In fact, let me open the website and show. In the meantime, any questions in today's session? I hope not. Right? Please do attempt the questions from the reasoning book.